morning. Can you believe it? Here we are. Isn't this exciting? All right. And a very warm welcome to Hobbs Hall, to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. Reverend Stephen, I have the pleasure of serving this congregation as your minister. Thank you for joining us this morning as we gather once again in person and on Zoom. We're a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow in community. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for being with us this morning. Visitors, if you'd like to know more about our church and be in contact with us, if you're on Zoom, there will be a link in the chat box at the end of the service. If you're here, there will be members of our membership team running around ready to greet you. Visitors, you're also welcome to stay after the service. We will have our open house immediately following the service, so please stick around and check this place out. Thank you to our team leading worship this morning, including our interim music manager, Vanessa, our director of religious education, Colleen, and our tech team that's both here and remote, Julie Swango, Jennifer May, Jill Forsman, our administrator, Mary Beth Hannon, our virtual greeter, Michelle Boris, hi Michelle, and Brad Bolton, who is our audio tech and is recording the service. We get to do something really fun this morning we haven't done in quite a while. We get to practice radical hospitality by greeting one another in person, and it's so exciting. It's one of our highest values. We treasure community here. So let's take a few moments to turn and greet one another while everyone on Zoom can go to a chat room and greet as well. Once again, welcome. Now let's take a moment to just breathe together, become fully present to this exciting time. As we do, let's invite the spirit of love to be present among us and to let our hearts be filled with joy and delight as we welcome spring and we gather here in Hobbs Hall for the first time. It is truly a day to celebrate. Come, let us worship together.
In the words of the Reverend Evan Carvel-Ziemer, if we lived in another climate, our souls might speak other languages. We might speak oasis or permafrost, dry season or monsoon. But our souls speak spring. Our souls speak green shoots pushing through last year's leaves. Our souls speak flower buds stretching to the sun. Our souls speak mud puddle and nest building, damp earth, worm casings, tiny green leaves, and frog choruses. We speak spring because spring sings in us. I love the spring, don't you? The earth is warming, the birds are singing, the breezes are softer and sweeter, and down in the dark, damp earth, there is hope in seeds sprouting and working their way topside. Light is returning, and in many ways, so are we. This morning, we gather as a community, turning our faces to the sun, opening ourselves up to renewal, rebirth, and the possibilities. And dear ones, those possibilities are endless. As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship, to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, and to be a light to guide us on our journey as a community toward freedom. I'd like to invite Ike Brannon up to the front to light our chalice for us this morning. As we light our shared chalice, I invite you in Zoom to light your home chalice. Please join us in the words for the Chalice Lighting by Susan Davidson Archer. The words are on your screen. The earth is warming, the bird's song increases, the sweeter breezes brush our cheeks, and the earth holds hope in its seeds and buds. Come, let us light our chalice this morning with joyful noise, with warm hearts, with hopeful spirits, for we are one with the renewal of the earth and held in the love of one another.
We are once again kicking off our annual pledge campaign, and we have a video that was lovingly made by David Smeltzer. I invite you to watch. And as you do, you may want to, if you have a joy or sorrow to share this morning, you may want to fill out a yellow card, and our greeting ushering team could pick those up. That would be great. Okay, let's watch.
Hello, I'm Kay Ekman, and I'm speaking on behalf of our church's generosity team. By now, in a familiar rite of spring, your pledge package has appeared in the mail. As you make your pledge, please consider how our church has kept you rooted and what your hopes are for its future.
Our church had such a calming, grounding effect on me during the past 2 years. I remember way back at the start of the pandemic, I'm worried about who might die, which is distressing enough. But then I realized that each state's pandemic response was being used by our president as a wedge to further divide us, and it was almost too much to bear. But our church acted as the adult in the room, and they said, we're going to trust the science. We're not even going to meet until at least the summer months. You know, keep wearing masks, we're gonna get through this. And it was such a reassuring message, and one that I desperately needed to hear.
I also like the services remotely on Sunday. They make me feel good, and I don't have to get dressed up for them or go anywhere, but I have to say Reverend Stephen has helped me a lot personally, because I've had some traumas with my daughter and wondered what was going to happen and what my role should be, and he's been very nice and helpful and come to my house and called me on the phone, and we should all be grateful for him. He's quite a special person, and he I'm making him some socks.
Oh, well, when I think about what the church has meant to me during the past couple of years, I realized sort of viscerally what I've known intellectually, which is that the church is a lot more than a couple of buildings. The physical space is certainly important, but you know, the church is people. And it's a group of like-hearted individuals who are interested in and care about one another and share a set of common values. And as we've been together but apart for a long time, but to me the Sunday services have been the constant. To me it was like a calming touchstone of something that I can always rely on to center myself on Sundays at 10 a.m. And especially every week the Golden Tones singing Go On Your Way in Peace. Just love that every week. That to me serves as a buoy that helps keep me afloat, and it's just an affirmation once a week of hope and support.
So church on Sunday morning was an opportunity to see people that I knew, and like Diana, it was great to see people. It was great to hear other joys and concerns that got me sort of out of my own little cocoon. And I thought of it as like a mooring that was somewhere away from where I was residing. So that was a nice thing. The other thing though was that it was a source of pride for me, because especially at the beginning, I was just so proud of the job that we didn't miss a beat. We got up and running with Zoom like boom, and it was fun. It was great. It was impressive, and I enjoyed telling other people about that. So that was a fun thing also.
But I found out, I've always been aware of your church. I remember going to a wonderful bazaar there and a concert when I was a kid in the 60s, 70s. But my mother, every Friday, before COVID at least, used to have lunch at the Little City Grill with a bunch of Unitarians. And Bob Erdman is the one who told me about the Zoom and sent me the link, which I then sent to a good friend in Columbus, Rich Warren, who also occasionally joins us. And he's good friends with Kat Holtz. And so the two of us started coming, I would say about December 2020, we started attending as regularly as we could.
I'd like to thank our wonderful staff and the board members and the RE teachers and the worship associates and all the people who volunteered to be on the tech team and everybody behind the scenes that worked so hard to make this a reality. Thank you. And thank you to everyone that worked before and during the pandemic to make Hobbs Hall a reality as well. We built a building and furnished it, and it's wonderful.
Flying is a very special experience, and when you learn to do it, you just never forget that feeling of taking off, going somewhere, having the air lift you up, having the feeling of the flaps that you've just pulled down, lifting the plane. You have to have all of your intentions and your equipment ready, and then you can take off. And the same thing's going to happen with this building.
I am so looking forward to getting back and being with people face to face. It doesn't matter how good your virtual technology is, it's not the same as being there in person and having personal conversations, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. It makes a difference.
It comes to mind that song, She's Got High Hopes, She's Got High Apple Pie, because I really do have high hopes that with the opening of this building, that we'll find another new normal. Because we'll be coming together in person and virtually, and that the combination of those will be a new and stronger vision for the church.
Yes, and next time I'm in Kent, if you're in person, I will come and see you in person.
The past 2 years have held a lot of loss and grief and anger and despair, but my hope is that we acknowledge and kind of work through those feelings, and together we can offer each other joy and humor and excitement and possibility and a renewed commitment to our congregation.
I've found things that make me happy, and the church is one of them. And I want the church to do well, and I want people in the church to realize that they have a good place to turn if they need something. And in order to make that happen, we've got to give them some money to do it.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for the support that you've always shown our church. I'll see you around at Hobbs Hall.
Our lives are a mystery that bring many things. Part of what we experience is struggle and loss. We're a community of compassion and care, and in that spirit, we'll take time now to share sorrows, struggles, and losses that are in our hearts right now. If you're attending this service via Zoom, please use the chat box to share. Are there yellow cards? While we're waiting for Zoom responses, I invite us to hold in our hearts and prayers the people of Ukraine and pray for peace. Kara Kramer asks prayers for my great aunt Lois, who has entered hospice care after 102 amazing years. May this be a time of peace. David and Susanna send their love to this dear planet and all its wonder. We offer prayers for Connor's friend Sarah, who is hospitalized. Well, says, someone I grew up with has been struggling with complications from lupus for over a year. They're running out of options. Keep holding on, Tim. I invite us now to enter into a spirit of prayer, of reflection, with these words adapted from Wayne Arneson. The Spirit that is life and love, God of many names who surrounds us, in whom we have our being. We hold before you those who are in need of care and love, those we've named, those we carry in our hearts, those who are sick or lost or alone, those who are grieving, those who struggle with addiction or are the victims of violence, hatred, or oppression. We pray for peace in our hearts and our homes, for peace in our communities and our nation, for peace in our world, and for an end to the war in Ukraine. We offer our thanks for the people who have loved us and continue to love us. Help us open our hearts to people who might be within our circle of love. Or do we make that circle just a little wider? Help us to see ourselves as the loving people we are and can be. We pray that the love we share with the people in our lives will be our abiding teacher and our guide. May it be so. And our lives bring joy, wonder, and awe. We've had moments this week that have lifted our spirits. Once again, if you're on Zoom, you're welcome to use the chat box to share joys with us. And we have these. Heidi shares the joy in being together, and that grandson Rory turned 2 last weekend. Yay! Wow. Congratulations, Ike, who says, I'm crossing over to Boy Scouts today. Yay! And Christy shares that last night I braved the cold and rain at a park in Geauga County to look for salamanders. We saw lots of salamanders and frogs. I'm grateful to my husband, Brad, for enticing me to engage in adventure. And Alyssa sends thanks out for getting housing. We rejoice with you. And now with gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in life, for the gift of life itself, for the companionship of one another on our shared journey, for the beauty of our world, and for this day of possibility, let us raise our hearts in gladness and together say, Amen.
I'm going to look crazy in this lilac city. Dandelion faces all around. I'm going dizzy crazy in this mud delicious world. Spring is springing from the ground. I'm feeling blooming silly with these yellow lilies, sparkling butterflies in my hair. I'm skipping sunshine happy through this puddle puddle world. The spring is truly in the air. Spring is in the air. It's blooming everywhere. Spring is popping out. It makes me wanna shout. I'm going to look crazy in this lilac city. Dandelion faces all around. I'm going daisy crazy in this mud delicious world. Spring is springing from the ground. I'm feeling blooming silly with these yellow lilies, sparkling butterflies in my hair. I'm skipping sunshine happy through this muddle puddle world. 'Cause spring is truly in the air.
And speaking of spring, one of the main things that happens is what? Rain. But it renews the earth and it brings the flowers into bloom. So we're going to take some time now to engage our entire being in one of my favorite activities called the Rainstorm. So Colleen and I will help you with this, and just follow along as you're willing and able. So.
Very light droplets. You guys keep doing that. You do this.
Now comes the fun part. We need a little rain, lightning and thunder and the wind. So if you feel like being wind, and you can clap your hands for a bolt of lightning. You can maybe slap the hymnal with the hand to make a boom, or just say boom. Or is that? Zap! Do I hear thunder?
I think it might be passing over us.
I think so. Well, we're a little overdue for some sun.
I think you're right.
Well, thank you for making a great storm together.
Our reading this morning is entitled Jailbreak by Maya Spector. It's time to break out. Jailbreak time. Time to punch our way out of the dark winter prison. Lilacs are doing it in sudden explosions of soft purple, and the jasmine vines and the ranunculus too. There is no jailer powerful enough to hold spring contained. Let that be a lesson. Stop holding back the blossoming. Quit shutting eyes and gritting teeth, curling fingers into fists, hunching shoulders. Lose your determination to remain unchanged. All the forces of nature want you to open. Their gentle nudge carries behind it the force of a flash flood. Why make a cell your home when the door is unlocked and the garden is waiting for you? I invite you now to join in singing our spring hymn, number 63, Spring Has Now Unwrapped the Flowers.
So I spent 2 hours spring cleaning yesterday. You know, those darn slinkies are so hard to hold on to. Today is the spring equinox. The word equinox means equal night. The day and night are each 12 hours long, and from here we can look forward to longer and longer days until the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. At 11:33 this morning, it will officially be spring. Yay! So close. Let's see, we're just under an hour away, but who's counting? I personally love the energy of spring. It's my favorite season. Anybody else? Okay. I love watching as the gray and the brown give way to color, spring flowers bloom, trees, the grass turn green once again. Did you notice the daffodils and the crocus blooming outside the building as you came in? And the tulips are coming up as well, and they'll be bursting into a riot of, what color did we put in? Is it red? Red. Ooh, I can hardly wait. Well, the coming of spring is a powerful teacher. It's a powerful reminder of life's power to renew itself, to triumph in spite of sometimes overwhelming odds. It teaches us to be resilient, which is the ability to recover from difficulties and be strong again, a lesson we've needed. We're also watching the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth as we witness the changing of the seasons, once again, a cycle that we are part of. Our seventh principle affirms that we are each a part of the interconnected web of all of life. And our sixth source of spiritual wisdom, which is earth-centered traditions, invites us into a reverent relationship with the earth, letting ourselves flow in body and spirit with the turning of the seasons, and feeling gratitude and joy for the blessing of being alive. Today really feels like spring, and I feel very lighthearted. It's because in some ways, winter has lasted for 2 years. Yeah. A winter of the spirit that has kept us apart much of the time, and it's been hard. There have been moments some of us have struggled to find hope that the pandemic would finally ease off. I've heard many times how we've missed being together in person. There's the possibility that another variant of COVID will appear, and who knows what that will mean. And there's still the work of grief, of working through anger and frustration, and coming to terms with all the losses we've experienced, but not today. We need a little springtime today, so let's welcome this day. Let our hearts soar with joy. As we heard in the reading, it's time to break out. Jailbreak time. Time to punch our way out of winter's dark prison. So, it's time to quit shutting eyes and gritting teeth, curling fingers into fists and hunching shoulders. It's time to lose your determination to remain unchanged. And as the poet asks, why make a cell your home when the door is unlocked and the garden is waiting for you? Today, the door of life is unlocked, and the garden of possibility is awaiting all of us. It's a day to celebrate. We're together. We have a beautiful new building. Complete with plumbing that works. This place will offer so many new opportunities to continue being a community of learning, of service, and to invite others to join us in seeking justice and bringing our message of love, of hope, of possibility to our world. Most importantly, we have each other and this community. If you're feeling cautious, I understand, but as Parker Palmer writes, why not embrace spring's hyperbole? Life is not meant to be forever measured and meted out as winter compelled us to do. Most of the time, life can and should be spent in a riot of generosity as we, like spring itself, throw our cares to the winds. A riot of generosity. Those words seem especially fitting today as we recognize how the generosity of each of you and Olive and Clinton Hobbs, whose picture is in the back by the door, made all of this possible and continues to make this community possible. We heard in that wonderful video David Smeltzer made, thank you, David, how this community makes a difference in the lives of our members and friends. So today, we're asking you to be generous and renew your commitment to make a new commitment to our shared life and work, to support this spiritual home that unlocks life's door and invites us into greater fullness of life, to experience joy through serving and growing spiritually. This is a home of the heart where we can ask, what shall we do with this great gift of life, of time, of promise, as the poets say? One of my favorite poems, and there are many, is titled Sprout by Sue Ludwig, and she says, I am in search of my life, not the one I was dealt, but the one I want to have. Not the one repeatedly stomped into the ground, popping up where I least expect it, but the one where I wake up each day, excited to be on a path, blooming with maybe nothing I expected, but everything I wished for. May this spring bloom with everything you've wished for, and may our hearts be filled with joy and hope. And now, Colleen is going to lead us in a guided spring meditation. This will be a time to reflect on our lives and to ask, what is the life we want to have? Who do we want to be? How are we going to bloom like the spring? Colleen?
All right, spring is a time of renewal and rebirth, and it offers us a promise of new possibilities, of hope and potential. To explore these possibilities, I would like to invite you now to enter into a guided meditation with me. As always, you're welcome to participate as you wish, or just sit quietly. Let's take a moment to breathe together. Paying attention to your breath as you breathe in and breathe out. As you're comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze in front of you. Continue to pay attention to your breathing. Imagine a seed or seeds within the earth. They are waiting in the darkness. These seeds represent things that you want to cultivate within yourself. What are those things? Wisdom, patience, understanding, joy, peace, serving others, self-care. Imagine now the warmth of the sun as it penetrates the earth. Feel the sun's warmth and its energy reaching the seeds within you. Now see with your mind's eye a spring rain above you. Smell the sweet fragrance that it brings. Watch as the rain penetrates the earth and the soil around your seeds. Imagine the seeds starting to come to life, stirring and longing to reach up and stretch and grow. The rain and the sun are your spiritual practices, those things that you do to care for your spirit so that it will grow and bloom beautiful and strong. Now see the seeds within you breaking open, transforming as roots begin to grow and reach deeper into the earth. And the stem reaches upward and breaks through the soil to find the sun. Fed by the sun's energy and the water and the soil, watch as your plants grow towards the sky and leaves unfold. In the silence, imagine what these plants, as part of your spiritual life, will bring into the world. How will you make a difference this year? What gifts are you nurturing and tending to that you will share with a world that so desperately needs what you have to offer? How will your plants and your gifts grow in our community garden of possibility? Let's keep silence while we think of these things.
As we sang earlier, from you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Our spiritual community thrives in its shared life of worship, of community and ministry, as each of us participates in the circle of giving and receiving. This is possible due to your generous gifts of money, time, and care for each other, and the recognition that we are all interconnected. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. March's special offering is for United Help Ukraine. United Help Ukraine provides medical aid and humanitarian relief to the people of Ukraine who are struggling from and struggling against the Russian invasion of their country. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another and this community and the abundance that makes our generosity possible, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond.
Soft earth beneath our dry feet, the earth, she moves and moans anew. And we are called to plant our seedlings with sacred deeds of deepening hues. Across the blue sky above our heads, the sun's warm rays come right to us. The wind lifts spirits from our kingdom. Our love psalm reaches to newfound heights.
Primavera, love primavera, we give thanks for your living now. In this season of new beginnings, love primavera calls to us now.
the lilied springtime keeps coming forth, rebirthing us from dark places. With rain and misting, they grow taller, and we grow deeper in good graces. As we emerge as siblings of faith, the spring tells us to show we care for one another and for our mother. And let it be our solemn prayer.
And now to bring our time of worship to its close, would you join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. Words are by Starhawk. Plan to seed this springtime, hold it in your hand, and envision a world in which we live in balance with nature, at peace with one another, where creativity and love can flourish. Offer your seed to the earth. Water and tend it as you tend those qualities, and take those actions which can bring that world to birth. And now, with gratitude for this gathered community, as we rejoice in the return of spring, and envisioning a world where creativity and love can flourish, let us go forth to plant seeds of hope and possibility as we continue inspiring love, seeking justice, and growing in community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And I honor the spring light in you.